Let's be honest, most video game hoaxes kinda suck. Tons of them are made to deceive the masses and get their hopes up, and many only exist so their creators can get a cheap thrill. But some hoaxes are well-intentioned, with their only real goal being to make us all laugh. These are the good hoaxes, the kind where confusion ultimately gives way to laughter, and the kind we're gonna be talking about throughout this video. So without further ado, here are some of the funniest hoaxes in gaming. Pretty much every gaming outlet has pulled a hoax for April Fools, with Electronic Gaming Monthly and IGN being two of the most prominent. But our first hoax comes from the pranksters at Game Informer, who, once per year, would rebrand a portion of the magazine as Game Infarcer, and fill it to the brim with silly, nonsensical, and sometimes hilarious hoaxes. No franchise was safe from GI's tomfoolery. They dreamt up tons of fake games, like Metroid Prime Extreme Beach Volleyball, Goose of Tsushima, and even a version of Halo 3 that featured everything in existence, including Bob Denver, 90-player online co-op, and proof of God. But in our opinion, their shining gem was featured in Game Informer issue 168 for April Fools 2007. If readers appropriately turn to the double-page spread on page 69, they'll be greeted with a feature on a new peripheral for the Wii, Wii Balls. This new accessory seemed to be more about ergonomics, with Game Informer stating, "Moving the remote back and forth is fine, but sometimes you just need to wrap your hands around something meatier." But it also allegedly featured new technology, with GI saying, "Thanks to sensors implanted in the globes, your games will detect whether you're squeezing the balls, twisting, or cupping them gently in your hands." And this peripheral wasn't just launching on its own. After all, every piece of good hardware needs good software. Several games were being developed to work with the add-on, including the titles Locker Room Rumpus, Is It Ripe?, and the Balls' killer app, Mario Party Balls. The balls even came with a pre-order bonus of a custom carrying sack with a choice of two colors, flesh and blue. Although obviously fake, Wii Balls was apparently being manufactured by a company called Dangle Brothers, with its website being www.hanglazy.com. And there's something we find fascinating about this. If you actually go to the Hang Lazy website, it redirects you to the DidYouKnowGaming YouTube page. We genuinely have no idea why this is, so if you're the cheeky devil that redirected a website about balls to our YouTube page, let us know in the comments. And while we're on the subject of strange groin-related hardware, we need to give an honorable mention to a gaffe by Electronic Gaming Monthly. In their 117th issue for April 1999, EGM showcased an odd-looking peripheral called the Game Shorts. EGM gives a nice image of the device and explains the peripheral works really well, and even tells you how it's worn. You just strap it tight and jack it up. But they don't actually explain how the peripheral functions or what games it works with, so we can only speculate as to how it functioned. Given that it's essentially just underwear, we have to assume the worst. But thankfully, this was just a hoax after all. EGM also snuck in a little nod to the fact this was an April Fool's joke, with the price also being the date, 4/1/99. Funnily enough, a peripheral not entirely unlike the Game Shorts actually released as a real product, the Res Trance Vibrator, which is basically self-explanatory. It works with the game Res, it vibrates, use your imagination. Those last pieces of trivia were pretty funny, but this next game is no joke. It's time for a word from this episode's sponsor, My Heroes Dungeon Raid. My Heroes Dungeon Raid is an action RPG with some bullet hell thrown in for good measure. The game has some lovingly crafted pixel art scenery to take in, which we think sets it apart from other games in the genre. It also has all kinds of unique over-the-top monsters and bosses to fight. You can also battle witches who might look beautiful, but they're incredibly dangerous. The game uses a 3-element system for combat where fire beats wood, wood beats water, and water beats fire. My Heroes Dungeon Raid has 5 classes which can all be enhanced and customized by acquiring hundreds of pieces of gear, weapons, and skills. All this gear comes in many fabulous styles to match your tastes, just like the game's pets. Not only can pets help you battle against monsters, but they also find resources for you in AFK mode. But the game has other modes, like multiplayer, where you can find new friends to battle with or join a guild, and solo PvE mode, where you can climb the ranks as a lone wolf. So if you want to try out this beautiful fast-paced action RPG, install My Heroes Dungeon Raid via our link in the description below and enter our exclusive gift code DYKG to get additional bonuses like weapon tokens, diamonds, and tons of gold. And now, back to the trivia. Since we're on the subject of unsavory hoaxes, we might as well stay here a bit longer. Australia's N64Gamer magazine was a somewhat short-lived gaming publication that ran from 1998 to 2001. The magazine had a few controversies during its brief existence, like when they gave Perfect Dark a score of 101 out of a possible 100 in issue 30. But N64Gamer's biggest controversy came from a simple but amusing hoax in their issue for December 1998. On the issue's 20th page, readers were greeted with a screenshot of Goldeneye 007 featuring a censored nude woman. The text underneath the image read, "Write in and we may give you the nude code for Goldeneye." Despite the image being an obvious Photoshop that just pasted in a cutout of a supermodel, many took the magazine at face value. N64Gamer had made a few references to nude codes before this, seemingly as a tongue-in-cheek nod to the Tomb Raider nude code rumors at the time, and this Goldeneye image was just another cheeky nod to those hoaxes. But this image took on a life of its own, with literally thousands of lust-fueled readers sending letters to N64Gamer begging for the code. The outlet quickly came clean and explained the image was just a joke, but this didn't stop its readers from asking. Amazingly, the publication were still getting letters about the Goldeneye nude code for years, all the way until N64Gamer went defunct in 2001. At first, N64Gamer seemed frustrated with all the horny demands for codes, but they eventually took a more lighthearted stance and playfully teased its readers with more hilarious and ridiculous hoaxes, like this mock-up of a nude code for Mario Party in their 28th issue. Unfortunately, N64Gamer never disclosed how many passionate fans wrote in asking for a Mario Party nude code. In April 1999, EGM's spin-off magazine Expert Gamer published an obscure finding for its readers. Unlike EGM, Expert Gamer's focus was strategy and tricks, and decided to show players a secret trick that gives players an entirely new Pokémon in Red and Blue. The trick required players to trade a Dratini from a copy of Pokémon Red to a copy of Blue, and both copies needed a complete Pokédex of 150 Pokémon. The player would then evolve Dratini into Dragonite before trading it back to Red. Then, by traveling to the lowest floor of the unknown dungeon near Mewtwo and using a Firestone, the Dragonite would evolve. Not only would it evolve into a new Pokémon, but this Mon in question was none other than Yoshi from the Mario series. Amazing. But Expert Gamer's staff were completely unaware that their prank would be topped by none other than Nintendo on the very same day. Again, on April 1st, 1999, a Pokémon hoax was posted on Nintendo's official website. Unbelievably, the site showed how players could take their Lickitungs and evolve them into a Luigi. Yes, Luigi from the Super Mario franchise. Luigi was given the 160th slot in the Pokédex and had the moves Wrench, Cower, Mustache Slap, and Family Reunion. He was also given the exclusive Plumber typing. All this information was right on the page for all to see, but some players still thought it was real, despite the ridiculous moveset and classification. To pull off the evolution, players had to catch a Lickitung with an Ultra Ball and keep it in their active party. The player would then have to go to where Snorlax was blocking the bridge in Vermilion City, turn their Game Boy upside down, and use a rare candy on Lickitung, evolving it into Luigi. This obviously would not work for a number of reasons, but you can't help but appreciate a hoax like this coming from Nintendo themselves, easily making it one of the most amusing hoaxes on our list. And this wasn't the only amusing hoax by an actual video game company. Back in 1999, video game developer Yutaka Ute Saito set up a hoax to promote his upcoming game, Seaman, for the Dreamcast. This hoax involved constructing a fake skeleton for the Seaman character and parading these fake remains around as a newly discovered seaman creature in Japan. This was just a bit of humor on Ute's behalf to help promote the game, but the team may have taken things a little too far. This was followed by a fake 6 o'clock news segment the team produced, where the discovery of the Seaman remains was the day's top story. The video mentioned how Seaman was first discovered by French biologist Jean-Paul Gass, and that an actual living Seaman would go on display for the first time in Japan after it was captured near Alexandria, Egypt. Ute would bring up the hoax a year later in EGM issue 134, saying, "In Japan, before releasing the first Seaman, we exhibited some bone skeletons of the Seaman in the aquarium, but without telling people that it was for a game. Some of the tabloids like National Enquirer picked up on it because they're interested in that sort of thing. Some people really believed the whole Seaman creature discovered thing, and we got a lot of complaints. In fact, there are some people in Japan who still think Seaman is real. We think it's particularly funny that everyday people were coming to you asking if the Seaman specimen was real, and his response was essentially yes, and we also found a real one. What a legend. In April 2012, Steam users who went to the Steam-powered web portal were shocked to see an announcement stating that Half-Life 3 was now available for PC, along with a $60 price tag and the flavor text, "The long-awaited final part of the Half-Life saga is now available." But when fans clicked on the update, they were greeted with a troll face meme that had been redrawn to look like Valve CEO Gabe Newell, with the caption, "Happy April 1st." Although initially disappointing, this was a pretty funny stunt, and most users took it on the chin. After all, Valve wouldn't just drop a game out of nowhere, and gamers should know by now to be on high alert during April Fool's Day. News outlets began reporting on Valve's gaffe, but there's a twist here. Users began asking why this update was only on the Steam web portal and not on the actual app itself, and many others couldn't even see the announcement. As it turns out, this was completely fake news, and the website everyone was pointing to wasn't even Valve's website. It was steampowered.com. With 2 P's. Some prankster had cloned Valve's website, hosted it on a new server, and bought a similarly spelt domain in hopes that a few users would mistype steampowered.com, stumble upon the update, and spread the news. And it worked. It wasn't just casual users that were fooled though. Even big gaming sites like Engadget were caught off guard by this simple gaffe, which in our opinion makes this hoax just a little bit funnier. Did you also know that we spent hundreds of hours researching Pokemon myths so we could separate fact from fiction? For more on that, click the video on screen. And what was your favorite hoax here? Did we miss any funny hoaxes you remember? Let us know in the comments.